Ted Lasso has a panic attack, and all the other pundits are being sympathetic. And then I just said, panic attack? Would Alex Ferguson have? And I quite, saying about the old footballers the old man, it wouldn't be like that.
Hello and welcome to the Sandscope Podcast, the show where indie filmmaking meets fandom, pop culture, and everything in between. And as always, I am joined, actually not by always, I'm joined by someone very different today, someone very special, a man who needs no introduction himself. Even though I kind of give you one. I said this again before, but I kind of give you one. Mr. Bill, and we've got a mutual friends with Benji Clifford as well. So, Mr. BillFellows, Bill, thanks for taking the time to talk to me today.
Pleasure to be here.
So we're just going to have a little bit of a chat about the area, growing up, acting, and obviously Tees Valleys. So growing up in Middlesbrough.
I did.
Yeah. So when did acting first feel like something you could actually do for a living?
Really late in my life, man. It was a stroke of luck. As a kid, I used to go to the little theatre because it's a bit of I'll go back one particular story. I went to Hustler Secondary Modern, which is a strange name for a school, but that's what, and I was quite mischievous. I've never been a tough guy, but I've been quite lippy and mischievous. And I got thrown out of the French class to be put in a class, believe it or not, called How to Be a Gentleman. And that's absolutely true. And with the hardest cases. But it was run by a really hard case called Mr. Burt Woolley, who also then ran Saturday morning clubs for theatre at Middlesbrough Little Theatre. And I just remember saying to Mickey Wilson, Mickey, you live near Billy, don't you? Yeah. But come down to the club. Come down to the morning club. And that's how I started getting into acting, not as a profession. Then I went to Grangetown Boys Club, which Burt Woolley ran. And Burt Woolley did get an MBE for his work of kind of underprivileged kids. But of course, I never knew I was underprivileged because everyone around me was the same. So, but he did get for his work. And then what happened, I was at a party of a friend of mine, Gordon Steele, who's a playwright in the area. And while I was there, I was by this point, I'd left home, I was on the dole, down and out really. I mean, I didn't know what I was going to do. I was just dossing around. And this guy called David Evans just was at the party. And he was at Grangetown Boys Club. And he asked me what I was doing. I said, oh, nothing. And he said, you weren't a bad actor. I'm going to drama school to be a drama teacher. I said, all right. Well, and I genuinely, people think I'm making this up. I did not know what drama school was. We are talking 76 here, a long time ago. And he said, oh, well, I'll tell you what, you should apply for that, man. And I had no idea what he was talking about, but he got me the form and I filled it in and I got an audition. And then it was £5 in them days. I got the overnight coach to Guildford and that's what I auditioned for. Now, the weird thing about that is I still wasn't sure, but as I walked into the room to audition, some weird thing came over me, which I remember thinking, oh, right, doesn't matter. If I don't get this, I'm going to apply to others. Nice. And I was like and then luckily, whether because the girlfriend knew I could get a grant, because I was a working class lad from Middlesbrough at that time, and it was very unusual. So, and luckily, I miraculously got into drama school. But before that, up to the age of 18, I would never have dreamt about acting. I never thought about it. I enjoyed it, but never as a profession.
So you've spoken about those early years, those graft. So what do they teach you that young actors today might never experience in the era of instant fame?
Well, I don't think I don't think drama schools teach you that much. I don't believe they can teach you how to act. I think you've got it in your spirit or you haven't, but they could teach you certain techniques. And the most important thing, as I often get asked this, is it better to go to drama school or not? I say yes, only because you have 3 years of messing about with people, very safety, whatever. If you just go straight in the profession, you're on your own straight away. You're a business on your own. So we had people could bounce off each other. And it was scary when I left drama school, like everyone else. It was nervous. But I did have the backing of friends who were with me at drama school. And we kind of helped each other a little bit. And we had comrades, which I think when you go straight in the profession, you don't have that with you. I mean, if you're very lucky, like a few people I know went to the same drama school as RADA, which is Ken Branagh. Well, he employed half of that lot for his films, films.
Yeah,
we never had that, unfortunately. But that's my feeling. But drama school itself, I'm not convinced you need it apart from that. I mean, but it's great fun. You're playing ridiculous parts that you will never get a chance to play because they want to do that to you. They want to sort of make you uncomfortable. And so that's what we did. And
So what's the most ridiculous part you had in drama school? Do you
Oh,
remember? Yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, I played an old man in a really old man in Bernard Shaw play. You never can tell. And then there was one where with Tom Jones, the play, and everyone thought I was going to play Tom Jones. Everybody said, "Oh, you guy, yeah." He was like, you know. And then all of a sudden they give me his ugly brother, Blissful. No, and obviously, anyway, well, maybe I deserve that part. But the point is, I remember thinking, because everyone had just, oh, you know, I bet you they give you Tom Jones because I had that spirit, you know, the cheeky, whatever. And it was a bit of a shock, but it taught me then to never expect anything, man.
Yeah.
No one knows anything.
So looking more at the stage side of things then. So you played Mickey in BloodBrothers.
Yeah.
Tony Harrison's Trackers at the National as well.
Yeah.
So,
And in Delphi, we went
Yeah.
to Greece with it, in Delphi, which was amazing, yeah.
so how did theatre shape your instincts on screen?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm not too sure. I haven't done theatre for a while. I'm more of a lover of TV and film because I do like the subtlety of being able to act very small. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, is it you know something? No matter where you are, you got to tell the truth. So you tell the truth, but you do have to express it bigger. I mean, I remember going to see a play, American Buffalo, big fan of Al Pacino, went to see it. I was sat at the back, so only got what I could afford. I couldn't hear a word he said. So for me, that was a bad performance. While the other two actors, I could hear every word, so they were great. So I'm sure if you're in the first two rows, you could hear him. So I think that's the most important thing, is about what you learn is just, no matter what your space is, get to the back of the room. I mean, like when we do in here where we have talks afterwards, some people, Adam Boachi, can hear brilliantly, talk, and Steve, but other people are quite quiet. And it's that projection and keeping the truth. That's why it's hard theatre, I think.
So your part in Lady Macbeth as Dr. Murder might be brief, but it's vital.
Oh, yeah.
What did that film teach you about doing more with less?
I don't know if it's ever taught me that more or less. I feel I naturally do it. And what I do remember about that is I remember thinking this girl was really good and, hopefully she might get on. You know, she's become an A-lister.
Yeah.
Florence Pugh and Naomi Aki.
Yeah.
So both, in fact, we've all done all right. Chris Fairbanks was in it,
Yeah.
and Cosmo Jarvis. So they did remarkably well. And what I do remember about that particularly is that I got a script and I read it thinking this is one of the best scripts I've read, which reminded me the most powerful thing in everything has got to be the script. Without the script, I don't care how good you are or whatever, you've got to have a great script. So I'm not too, the things you asked me there, it's something I never think about so much.
Okay.
It's not something I work on. I hope I've just got it naturally. And but like I said, the only thing I try to do when I'm instead of film or theatre, I just know I have to be a bit more out there, but to keep the same truth. And you can't do stuff with your eyes. And that's why I love film so much, because you really can be. You know, just a glance will tell you everything about that character. While obviously in theatre, you've got to do it, you know, to move your whole body or whatever, you know. Yeah.
So looking more at TV now, because obviously people would be annoyed at me if I don't mention Coronation Street. Essentially, so Stu Carpenter's over 127 episodes.
I did 200 on episodes, I think. Yeah,
So
it was good.
You went from homeless, wrongly convicted, redemption. So you went through the ringer, to be fair. So how do you keep that emotional truth alive for like so many months? And is it hard?
That is hard. It's hard. It's hard. The first thing, technically, forget everything else, you learning your lines. That's the big one. Because when you're in the main storyline, it comes at you all at once. So the first golden rule of everything is know your lines. Because once you know your lines, you have freedom. So sometimes we're so big, so much stuff, we struggle to learn the lines. So you felt you weren't free. But no, that was a great character. And one of the things, nothing to do with acting, which I learned, which I was amazed at, in the storyline, my character served, as we find out, 27 years in prison for something he didn't do. The point, and he never did it. So the point is, which has amazed me, he served 27 years. I said, why did he serve 27 years when normally you're out after 15? And that's because he never admitted it. So the establishment want you to admit it, whether you did it or not, to make them feel better. Then they'll give you parole. And if you don't admit your crime, even though you never did it, you won't get parole. So you'll serve your full sentence. Which is, I know it's food for thought, isn't it?
Horrible.
It's food for thought, that one.
So how is it then, jumping between theatre, TV, movies? Like, how is the transition between soap movie and theatre?
Well, first of all, I mean, I've done theatre for a long time, but not that I've fallen out of love with theatre, but I can't. I prefer the world that we live in, the camera, that world. I prefer that world. I like the idea of doing something best I can, and it's gone, and also it's there forever, which I love. Equally, if you do badly, that's there forever as well. So yeah, I'm weirdly recently, I think it's been 12 years since I did any theatre. And funny enough, my last theatre job was with a fellow Middlesbrough actor, Mark Benton, doing the Regent's Park. We did Hobson's Choice. But we should mention it, because I am actually all of a sudden getting out into, I was offered a pantomime because of Corrie, which I decided not to do. But all of a sudden I thought, maybe I should have done that. It might have been fun. And so I'm beginning to think about theatre again.
Okay,
Do you know what I mean? And I haven't done
yeah.
it for a long time.
Yeah.
And so I'm beginning to think about it. But I don't, let's see if I get offered something.
100%.
Yeah,
So then lately, obviously the massive success and essentially the global outpour for Ted Lasso.
Oh, Ted. Well,
Ted is just mad. And you play George
Cartwright. What a character!
Yeah.
What a character he was.
So he comes from that old school gaffer, that fucking win at all cost mentality.
Tom Allardyce,
Yeah.
Sean Dyche, them kind of people who were not were a bit soft. So, for example, there was a bit in Ted Lasso which wasn't written, but I asked if I could put it in, and we're at and Ted Lasso has a panic attack, and all the other pundits are being sympathetic, and then I just said, panic attack. Would Alex Ferguson have it? And I quite, saying about the old footballers wouldn't be like that. But that was great for his character, because he was unsympathetic, not because he didn't like anyone, but he was like the kind of hard guy. They took the piss out of him, didn't they?
Yeah. So I find it interesting because Ted is a show all about heart and
right.
soul, and your character is so old school mentality, but he's not a caricature of himself. He's very, someone like that.
Yeah.
So how did he? How do you play that? How do you feel like portraying the values of it and not portraying him as like this OTT villain of the series, essentially? The villain was very true.
Yeah, the villain belonged to Anthony Head. Actually.
Of course,
so mine was. I think a lot of people who love football like that character, because he was, if you listen to Roy Keane and all these people talking on podcasts, all they ever talk about.
I thought you were going to say Roy Kent then.
I
had a moment and I was like, I'm under a bit, this is so weird.
No, Jason's wonderful. They talk about Brian Clough.
Yeah.
And Brian Clough, remarkable things like Roy Keane going, when I didn't play well, and he came up to me and just punched me in the stomach. And everyone said, well, what did you do? I said, nothing, I just deserved it. My God, this is a totally different world now. Good and bad.
Yeah.
Good and bad, So I kind of comically based it on that, because he was, they did put him down a bit, didn't they, Jason? Roy Kent, took the piss out, saying, you were drinking and driving and all that. And then me bollocks fell out a couple of times. Remember all that?
Those shows were very short.
Yeah, but what was, sorry, I'm going to have to, technically, I've always said this, what was weird. If you wear really tight shorts, which allegedly I did, how can your bollocks fall out? Surely they're loose, right?
Yeah.
So I never asked that question. I just went with it. And of course, in the end, like Jason said, he wanted somebody that, he thought he was only going to do 3, and the next one's about a women's football team.
Yeah.
So when he wrote everything, we all had an ending. And he did say to me, I think I'm going to make, it's a little bit of redemption. You stand up for football. You say, no, I'm going to play football, right? And then I shake his hand. So it wasn't a big thing. But George did have a little bit of redemption, which I think he got.
So did Jason give you the room then? Obviously, because he wrote it, produced it and everything. So did he come to you and be like, no, I want it like this? And you'd be like, well, no, he's more like a Sam Allardyce character. No, was there a lot of like creative freedom between you both where you could be like, he's not as much as like, nah, fuck you, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I don't know, really, because weirdly, I hardly saw them, because I saw them at read-through.
Yeah.
My first day was where I got the sack, was Hannah.
Nice, yeah.
So he did, and Tom Marshall directed that from Middlesbrough, but Jason didn't give input. And then I never saw him again for 2 years, because all my stuff was at Sky.
Yes, in studio.
And Sky were very particular about how many people could go in. So we filmed at Sky Studio. So all it was the director, me, and the makeup lady. So I never saw Jason for 2 years, and I saw him again at the end when I filmed my final bit.
Oh, nice.
So he does that. He definitely, you know, he does get involved, you know, and he's got a very big vision on it, and obviously the director. So it's a bit of a juggling act between the director and him. But they did not bow down's the wrong word, but they acquiesced to Jason because he had the vision in his head what he wanted. And yeah, that was great. It was that again. This and what I do believe in about acting, and I really strongly believe in this. A lot of stuff is a stroke of luck.
Yeah,
really is, because I remember when I got the phone call from my agent or message saying, "Would you audition for this, or would you self-tape for this?" And luckily, I was filming in Budapest with Neil Marshall.
yeah.
And I remember looking at it, thinking, well, it's only a scene. And I thought, oh, I'm filming, it's really hard. I really wasn't going to self-tape. And an actress called Susie McGowan, who just sat in the bar, said, oh, I was telling her, I said, I'm not going to do it. She said, oh, go on, do it. You should do it. I said, I'll read it with her. Go on, let's go to the hotel room and do it now. And then we'll come back for a pint. I went, oh, and she bullied me into it. So I did self-tape and I got the part. And I ring her every now and then and just say, thank you. Thank you. Because I really was genuinely not going to do it.
Right.
People think I'm making up, and this is the kind of sliding doors and luck and things. So I've had bad luck as well. Do you know what I mean? But that was a bit of stroke of luck. Then I was sat next to her. I could have been sat next to someone else who said, "Oh, you're not there." I wouldn't bother.
Yeah, don't worry.
Yeah, don't worry.
So look more than a regional identity in independent films up here. So recently you did in Give Them Wings, you played Norman Hodgson. Father, true story, but disability resilience. How do you feel telling a Northeastern story that's just very personal and grounded in real life?
Well, it was great. I loved it. I mean, I'm not, you know, the film I think could have been a little bit better in the end, but the script was really good. First of all, it's really a lot easier because you use your own accent. Because there are a few people who did very well, but they weren't from the area. So I think there was only a couple of us was originally from the area. But I've known Paul a long time, so I was always going to be down to play his dad. And I really liked it. In fact, weirdly, what's great thing has come from it, I've got a really close friendship with Toy Wilcox, who played my wife. I played her husband in it. And he was quite a cruel man. And I don't mind playing people like that, but it was good. I mean, it was like I would say me and Mark discussed this quite a lot. If there's a choice between doing something in the area or somewhere else, you would always, you know, there were equal things. You would always come back and work in the area because I mean, I don't live here anymore, but I love what's happening and I love people trying to get off. And I like using my own accent as well, which is.
So he does have like Smoggy Queens, Give Them Wings, Sky Pearls, sorry.
Sky Pearls,
yeah. So when you're on like a local set, then if it's like Darlington, Middlesbrough, Stockton, so how does it feel different to when you're on like, I don't know, like a Manchester set or a London set? That regional identity does come through, or
kind of. I think it's more to do with that. You know that when you finish filming that day, you're going to go and see people you haven't seen for a while, or things like that. I mean. You know, I think any area would say, you know, they've got great crews, like we've got great crews. I think what's happening here is our crews are getting more chance to work. I mean, if you live in Manchester and you're involved in that world, they practice all the time. So we haven't had enough of that, in my opinion, which is hard because everyone talks about everything. In the end, though, the money's got to be there. I mean, Smoggies, for example, I mean, luckily for us, Phil, who wrote it, is from England, from Middlesbrough, England, and I think he insisted it to be set here. I think, you know, it could have easily been elsewhere. He could have like acquiesced that. And maybe if there's a third series, maybe, because sometimes I did George Gently, the very early George Gentlys, and that was filmed in Ireland for tax breaks.
Yeah. A lot
of stuff you see.
It does happen.
But I mean, we've done the second series, and I'm playing the, you know, crazy carpet guy Keith again. And I loved it, and I think it's I personally find, I never thought I would. I thought it's going to be my cup of tea. I find it hilarious. I think it's a great series, but it's subjective, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everything's subjective.
So, what's the role you're most proud of? Obviously, you've been keeping busy over the years, like, so you're consistently busy. So, is there one particular role you're like, you know what?
I think on stage, it's got to be on stage. It's got to be BloodBrothers.
Yeah,
I don't think you can beat what a great part that is for a working class lad. And it's a beautiful, and you know, it's a beautiful score. It's a beautiful music. So I would say that was really, really number one for me in theatre. Film, I mean, obviously, and I've had so many things which I've really enjoyed. I mean, I was really proud, even though it wasn't a massive part, to be proud of such a great script in Lady Macbeth.
Yeah, of course.
That was a highlight as well. But yeah, I've done so many things that I've enjoyed quite a lot. Yeah, I mean, Coronation Street's got to be up there.
Yeah, I gotta say,
Because it's one of the, I know it's a cliche and a joke, but you know, all my family up here, my sisters, you know, they're love it, yeah. But once I got Corrie, that's it.
Yeah,
You've made it.
yeah.
And you go, I go, what about Ted Lasso? What about Alan Partridge? I did Alan Partridge, which I loved as well. So all these things went out the window. And I think it's because it's an iconic.
Yeah.
And I was out last night with the lads. We went to his pub and in Stockton, and loads of people were coming up and chatting, all very nice, getting photographs. And I thought, wow, the power of Corrie.
It's mad, isn't it?
It's mad.
Yeah, it's mad.
I mean, some of it, I mean, my opinion of Corrie, which I think would improve it immensely, said do 3 hours a week, which is a lot, to be sure. Do 2 hours and let the writers have a chance to, otherwise they have to repeat stories. So that, but I mean, I'm proud of part of that. I mean, there is a little bit of snobbery, I noticed a little bit. Oh, you're doing the soap opera, so there's a little bit of snobbery, but I was proud of being a part of that.
Soaps are consistent.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, like,
and it was a great character as well.
Yeah.
And it was after 3 years, it was my choice, and it was the right time to go. But if they asked me back for a little bit, I liked it so, the people so much. But living in Manchester for a start, which I'm not from, got a bit lonely there, and I think also it was the relentlessness of learning those lines. And as you know, that's the hard work. I think that's what you get paid for now.
Yeah.
To learn the lines, because people forget. You spend days and days learning the lines to film it, and for me that's the hard work. Acting's great; it's fantastic, you know. But I've got, you know, I'd also I love low independent filmmaking.
Yeah.
I've done quite a lot of that, and I love it. I mean, you never know where it's going to end up, and I really enjoy being part of it, of that world, you know.
Oh, nice.
So
yeah, well. Thank you for your time. And to be fair, my missus, who's also a massive BloodBrothers fan.
Oh, BloodBrothers, all right.
Yeah. So when she found out you were Mickey, she was like, oh, yeah. I was like,
it was 91. I'm guessing before you were born, quite frankly. Yeah.
So she's got her own business. So she makes so she's called the Yorkshire Knitter, not the Yorkshire.
Right.
So she's a crocheter. So she just made you a little something to say thank you for just giving us a little bit of time. It is obviously Ted Lasso coded.
Oh, brilliant!
But it is your
thank you.
So
thank you. I'll treasure that. It's nice. I'm funny enough. I've got something similar, but it's made out of pottery, of me as Mickey in BloodBrothers.
Oh,
with the jumper on and all that, you know, that green little jumper he had. But yeah, 91. I mean, well, and I did it with Stephanie Lawrence, and it was her 25th anniversary of her death 2 days ago. That's how long it was. And Carl Wayne. So both the narrator and the mother, both of them are passed away. And then, but I think Mark's still around. But that was a gift. It was good because when I left, someone else takes over, and they're equally as good, because you have to be rubbish not to be good, because the music and BloodBrothers and that wonderful thing, isn't it, where I remember I started slightly go mad at one point, and at the end, you know, when they put our hands together, and I know everyone's crying, everyone is crying, tell me it's not true. And honestly, there was a few weeks where I had to steel myself because I wanted to get up and go, I'm not dead. And honestly, it became a little bit of a thing. And I thought, I've got to be, and I remember thinking, I go, don't. And I don't know what it was. And then it kind of went away. This obsession to destroy it all. You know what I mean? I don't know where it comes from. But
it's good.
But it was great with that. Yeah, that anyone who's played that part, you look back on your career and that was a real privilege. I mean, working at the National is great.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But it's the being in the West End, but also with a great part for a working class lad. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, I'm not Scouse, so I had to lie about that.
Oh, well.
So I did lie. He found out later, but he said, well, you know. But Liverpool, I mean, Middlesbrough accents aren't that different from Liverpool. There's a bit of Liverpool.
No, well, same in North Wales.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
You're
not far short. I can eat a little bit of Scouse.
Well.
North Wales.
I'm South Wales. So.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I've
been living in Manchester for years, haven't I?
Manchester,
it's softened it down a bit, unfortunately.
I did a casualty recently over in Cardiff. Are you near that way?
Yeah, down Roselock. Yeah.
All right. Okay. I've done a few of those.
I was in casualty as well.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, I was a young offender.
All right. How long ago was this?
It was 20,
very recently, I'm sure.
2013 it was. So a long time ago. 10 years ago. So, but yeah, I'll just wrap this one up now.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, thank you. Thank you, Bill. Thanks for that. That was
pleasure. Thank you for that.
Thank you. I was absolutely pleasure. Cheers. Thanks, Benji, for sending me the message to say hello.
Yeah.
And that is the end of the Sound School podcast. Again, thank you to Bill, and thank you to Tees Valley as well for for allowing this to happen. And we'll see you on the next episode of the Sunschool Podcast.